So you're thinking of moving to Thailand? Well, I'm going to give you 13 reasons you may want to rethink that. Now, Thailand is a gorgeous, gorgeous country. Beautiful scenery, beautiful backdrops, mountains, hills, oceans, rivers, elephants, fun bars, and so many activities. But there's a lot of reasons you may not want to retire there. You may not want to move there permanently. So we're going to go over some of those reasons, not to scare you, but to give you an informed decision before you pull the trigger when it comes to moving to Thailand. Let's go ahead and check it out and kick it off right about now. So we're going to start with number 1, work our way to number 13. And number 1 reason is there's potential for visa complications. Now, the Thai government will allow you to apply for multiple visas and extensions in a 6-month period. That's great. But the first one being 60 days, and then you can reapply for additional 30-day increments. But there's a lot of caveats that mean that you have to leave the country, return home, come back, kind of touch base, come back, touch base, come back. So when you're applying for a visa, know that it is a continual hassle for the rest of your time that you're using visas to visit the country. So you may be able to go for 6 months, you may have to apply for additional. The best way to do this is hire a service to manage your visa situation, because it's going to be a constant struggle going down to the office, filling out extensions, having to leave the country for so many hours, come back, etc. It's not an easy process. It's not overly expensive. It's not overly detailed, but it does make it a little bit of a trick if you want to stay there for several years at a time. Just note that. Number 2, healthcare quality does vary. What does that mean? Now, Thailand is a pretty modern country, and they have access to high-end, wonderful medical facilities, hospitals, and everything you could need, right? But not every area and every hospital is the same. There are some areas that are not what you would be used to, particularly out in the country. If you're used to a Western style of medical facility, well, Thailand's going to be a little different. Your mileage may vary. You can go to a beautiful hospital. You can go get cosmetic surgery in Thailand. You can pay top end and top dollar and get great medical coverage. But you're out in the country, you may get something that you would be like, wow, this is medical coverage. Medical coverage. So just note that the rural areas may lack quality medical facilities, and private healthcare can also be very expensive without insurance in the country. Again, your mileage may vary. There's deep cultural differences as well. That's number 3. So the social norms, the indirect communication, saving face, things are just different than in the United States. So you're going to have to get used to those cultural differences. And for some people, if you're looking to retire and you just want things to be like normal, it's going to be a different experience than what you've had in the West, okay? So just don't underestimate that. If you've never been to Thailand before, make sure you kind of understand the cultural differences. Also understand that if you're an English speaker, there's a strong language barrier, okay? Now, a lot of tourists are from all around the world, okay? India actually has a huge presence in Thailand, a huge tourism business. They've just opened up to where you can easily go back and forth without a visa. It's really cool. Australia, a lot of Australians, a lot of Russians, Germans. There's a lot of people who, Chinese are a huge part of the tourism to Thailand. Not everyone's going to speak English, particularly the locals. They may be learning Chinese, they may be learning German, they may be learning a variety of languages. English may not be their second language. And if your second language isn't Thai, you're going to have some cultural and you're going to have some language barriers for day-to-day communication. Now, fortunately, we do have things like Google Translate, and phones will work fine, and that's great. So you're going to be able to get by. But there's going to be a struggle, and you're not always going to have everyday conversation with people in the local community. So just note that going into it. Number 5, political instability. Okay, now, any country has this. But note, it's going to be a different country than you're used to. They had a military coup in 2014. There were people convicted trying to overthrow the government, I think as recently as 2021. And there's some instability. There's, at times, different riots in the streets and people wanting change. So just note that Thailand has experienced coups, protests, and government changes fairly often. Its political climate could be considered unpredictable. Now, again, I don't want the Thai government coming after me, so I'm not saying anything bad, but they've had some coups, and just note that things happen. So when you're in a foreign country, you always have to be aware of how often is this happening? Is this going to be a threat to me in the next 5 to 10 years? So just note that. Also note that some people will say that there's corruption with local authorities, police, immigration, even business dealings. That can be frustrating and risky, okay? There have been people who said, oh, you know what, if I get in trouble for having the wrong thing on me or getting into a fight, I can pay off the police, I can settle it right there. You don't know the culture and what some people would call corruption. I'm not going to go out there and say there's corruption. I don't want to get in trouble. But note that in any country, there's going to be some, and you have to be careful of that. I will say that I've definitely experienced poor air quality. Okay. The last time I went to Thailand, you're out in Bangkok, beautiful view from a gorgeous hotel. But you can only see a couple miles because that smog starts to lift. Now there's certain burning seasons where the farmers burn the crops to refresh the soil, and it gets real smoky in the air. There's certain days that maybe pollution from other countries comes over the cities, even those beautiful landscapes, and you can hardly see them. Okay, over here, you can't quite see this as well as you should because there is some pollution in the air. You may notice a little bit of your throat hurts in the morning. You may notice, I'm blowing my nose a lot. You may notice, oh, my asthma's acting up, and I haven't had asthma since I was a kid. Poor air quality, cities like Chiang Mai and Bangkok often suffer from that, particularly during burning season in the north, which is March and April. So just be careful when you're traveling, and note that this may not be the selection for you to retire if you have air quality issues. Maybe you're getting older, you got a little emphysema. You may not want to be in an area with lower air quality. Also, as a retiree, you may not love extreme heat and humidity. And if there's any place with extreme heat and humidity, it's Thailand. Most of Thailand, like Bangkok, for example, the average daily high any time of year is always in the 90s. Always in the 90s. So it could be the winter, it's 91 degrees. It's the summer, it's 98 degrees. Okay, so you're always going to deal with that. You're also going to note that there's monsoon seasons, there's rainy seasons, there's potential for floods. Last time I was in Bangkok, we had a couple floods. There was an earthquake. Again, this is a beautiful, wonderful country. I definitely recommend you visit. And you should consider retiring there. I'm considering retiring there. I've been there a bunch of times and I love it. But there are some shortcomings that you should consider. Well, maybe you don't want to retire here. All right. Some people complain about scams for foreigners. Okay, that's number 9. Be careful. Like in any country, there's going to be somebody taking advantage of foreigners. My first day in Thailand, I got scammed. I don't know, I thought I trusted this guy. I walked out of the hotel and he's like, hey, can I give you a ride? I was like, yeah, it's my first day here. Okay, I'm gonna give you a ride. He said, I'm looking for the ferry to the island, which was about 200 yards away. He said, I'll give you a ride, free. Okay. I got in his tuk-tuk. Actually, he said it would be like less than $1. It was like 33 cents. Like, okay, I get in his tuk-tuk. He drives me for 15 minutes to a ferry that charges $100. And it was in the middle of nowhere. So I either had to get back in the tuk-tuk with him or pay the $100. So just note, there's always somebody looking to scam you. Just be careful. Anytime you're going to a new country, you're going to live there. There's also an issue with, for a foreigner, no real property ownership. If you're a foreigner in the country, it's hard to buy a bar and retire. It's hard to buy an apartment or house and retire. You have to live there to own property, to own something. Now, a lot of people will maybe marry a local, so they own the property. So you kind of own the property. Remember, if you get divorced or they leave you, they own the property and you don't. So it's just something to note that there's definitely potential for not the best situation if you can't own the property when you retire. And there will be people looking to lock you in, get you over there, up the rent, raise the prices, whatever it may be. Just be careful. There's also, like any developing nation, there's wonderful schools, there's great schools, and there's not so great schools. So if you're looking to expand your educational needs, or if you have kids, be careful, because not all schools are created equal. It can be slow to get into a good school. It can be expensive to navigate, and if your kids don't speak English, this may not be a great place to go to school. There's also, like most countries again, but there's a lack of legal protections when you're in dispute with a local. The justice system can be slow, biased, and expensive to navigate. If you don't speak the language, it's always harder to navigate through a legal system, particularly in Thailand. So note before you retire to Thailand that there could be potential issues with the legal system and a lack of legal protections for foreigners. Think about that. If you live in the United States, you know there's a lack of legal protections for foreigners. Now move that to Thailand. You don't want to wind up in a Thai jail. Nobody wants to end up in a Thai jail. I would say number 13 is over-tourism. Oversaturation of expats. Popular areas like Phuket, Pattaya, Bangkok, Chiang Mai. Very, very busy areas. Lots of tourism. And it can be a little too much. It's expensive to live in these areas. It's not as cheap as you would think. And if you're a tourist in a tourist area that's oversaturated with tourists, that may not be where you want to retire. So just keep that in mind. If you're like, oh, I'm just going to go to Pattaya or Phuket and I'm going to retire there. It can be expensive to be a tourist there, and it can definitely be expensive to retire there. If you are under the assumption that you can go to Thailand and live for $1,000 a month, I don't think my quality of life would be up to par there for $1,000 a month. It may be fine for you. Now, with all that said, I have to say I love Thailand. Thailand is beautiful. Thailand is gorgeous. It has great beaches. The people are fantastic. The government is actually pretty cool. They've got great amenities and there's so many options. The hotels are cool and you're paying less than you would for the hotels. You're paying less than you would for labor. You're paying less than you would back home, at least I am, for food. I definitely recommend going to Thailand. I love Thailand. Thailand is a gorgeous, wonderful country that you definitely want to visit. But if you're considering retiring there, please take these 13 items to heart, that there may be things that you want to consider before going there. Again, visa complications, healthcare quality, cultural differences, language barrier, political instability, poor air quality, extreme heat and humidity, potential for scams, property ownership issues, the quality of education, the lack of political protection, and of course, over-tourism. Woo! All right, folks, my name is Adam. We're giving you the best of the best. Go ahead and consider retiring there. Consider clicking that subscribe button and definitely click the notification bell. Thanks for watching. Adios, amigos.